This is the book of Acts, Acts chapter 14, and the point is verse 22. And it reads, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of Yahweh. By Hashem Yahushai. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to Kol Loyim, La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Racha, Kodash Brakatam. I want to say double honors to my apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, who teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwap, as well as the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. It's the brother Yahweh Sop out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai. Yeah, I guess this is just my 2 cents I wanted to add to this whole controversy with this guy Kyrie. Kyrie Irving used to be a player for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now I believe he plays for the New Jersey Nets. Not a basketball fan like that anymore. I really don't even watch anything. I used to watch a little boxing, UFC. But at the end, they trying to be more so student of the scriptures, and keep my little bit of sanity there. The spirit keep a brother from going completely crazy. And that's the truth. Call Loyim La Yahweh Shem Yahushai. That the Most High is dealing with brothers. But Salaki, I'm bouncing around. So a few brothers did videos on the fact that this guy Kyrie Irving basically recanted his statement because he feeling that pressure, that pressure from the ish people, and what a lot of brothers was just basically trying to get Jake to understand these celebrities are not going to, basically, they're not going to, they're not set up to be, the men that is going to proclaim this truth. If that Lord wanted it like that, he could have did this in his time and did it immediately, quickly, but he chose to use the low things of the earth. Matter of fact, it tells you, bear with me for a second. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 18. For the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved it is the power of Yahweh. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and will bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. Verse 20, where is the wise, where is the scribe, where is the disputer of this world? Have not Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua made foolish the wisdom of this world? It was my elders, my apostles, because I consider myself a man of GMS. I've been in the truth for a number of years, and I'm still a babe, not saying it or proclaiming it proudly, but I subscribe to the doctrine of GMS, and I know my elders were one of the, they were the only men I heard saying, don't take this, don't do that jump shot. And, you had Esau saying it. You had even other camps that called themselves Israelites saying to take it. And then look what the repercussions of that. You had a lot of individuals die. Got all these lawsuits that's taking place after the fact. And now Esau Edom is saying basically, my bad. After you have people become sick, So, the wisdom of this world told you to follow what Esau said. It tells you in the book of Isaiah chapter 9, verse 16, the leaders of this people caused them to err. It tells you in the book of Matthew, if the blind lead the blind, they both should fall into a ditch. I believe it's Matthew. Continue. Getting to the point. The point is verse 27. But Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. So, it tells you in the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24, that the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. The Lord is not going to use these celebrities to basically proclaim this truth, because these celebrities have made covenants and partook in certain, They basically they made a covenant with Esau Edom. That's why basically when they blew down on Kyrie. And I got a different article, but he's trying to basically clean it up. He never even made a statement, by the way. All he did was post a link to an old video or old documentary. So he never really said anything anti-Semitic. If anything, basically he's trying to make Jake's so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans realize that they are Israelites, so that meaning they're Semitic too. Because we never said that Esau Edom wasn't, Hebrew. They're just not Hebrew Israelites. They're Hebrew Edomites, and it's documentation that proves this. It's books, the Roman Empire, the Edomite, and all these different books. You know what I mean? It's tons of information out there. Just like it's tons of information out there that say that we are the true biblical Israelites, and that's how you know that this is the truth. Again, the scriptures talk about the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Who is the one people that basically for him posting a link, basically, and then they talking about basically, he had to donate, but pretty much they find him, and not only find him, they find his team. You know what I mean? So because the majority of our people and the people that's joined onto this world, they're joined onto this world in contracts. I mean, shit, we joined onto this world in contracts to a degree because of, the birth certificate and yada, 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 different things like that, But at the same time, scriptures tell us to hate thy life. Where's that at? It's the book of John. John chapter 12 verse 25, and it reads, he that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. If any man serve me, let him follow me, and where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. It talks about in the scriptures that many men honor Yahweh Bashem Yahushua with his lips, but his heart is far from him. You got to hate your life on this side. A lot of these celebrities that Babe mentioned that they're Israelites, I ain't gonna say all recanted, but you know what I mean? They all, because they want to, love this world and love Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And the Most High doesn't rock like that. When you go into, what is it? The book of Matthew chapter 6, it reads, Matthew 6 and verse 22, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thy eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light, which is the light, is truth. So you got to be completely focused and engulfed and consumed by this truth, because this is a dark, dark world. Verse 23, but if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve both Yahweh, ye cannot serve Yahweh and Mammon. And when you go into Mammon, basically it's riches or money. That's what it talks about. The love of money is the root of all evil. And I believe, what's that, 2 Timothy? So, at the end of the day, that division, what I mean? The Lord is looking for those that's going to worship him in both spirit and in truth. He's not looking for these celebrities that's basically got a stake into this world. Let me see what else I got. This truth comes, you're not going to be liked, or loved. And these people, these celebrities want that love, it talks about in Revelation chapter 10 about, eating eating that honey, meaning this truth, and how it being sweet in thy mouth, because it's beautiful to know the truth. Know who because I believe we all, like, I've always had answers as a child, like, why is this like this? Why is that like that? And then after all these years to be given this beautiful truth, this Yapa truth, Yapa Amath is just, this is a truly a blessing, you know. But at the same time, you got the bitter part, which because if the Lord suffered, it tells you that the servant is not greater than the master. The Lord suffered, so his disciples, his students, have to suffer as well. So and that's the bitter part when you coming into the hell you catch. Look at this thing. Like I said, but the Lord's so cold just by Kyrie doing that one thing or Kanye doing that one thing. Basically, you don't know who he was used as a vehicle to open the eyes of who. That's how the Lord worked. He worked through people sometimes. He can work through anything. It tells you in the scriptures in the book of Genesis how the Lord said he would destroy the house of Israel and raise up rocks. When you go into Sabaoth, it means host. The Lord controls, it tells you in a book, I believe the book of Hebrews, that he's the father of spirits. So, and that's what a lot of these celebrities is not, you see Nick Cannon fold, you see Kanye West, I believe, recanted, They asked him, did he subscribe to the belief of the black Hebrew Israelites? And I agree. I wouldn't say black because we aren't black. Black is a construct. They show you that in the movie Malcolm X. When the Muslims showed him, he showed him the word black and then he showed him the word white. And that's why that's part to play why you got a black culture. And then the fact that 2/3 of our people are sellouts. Again, makes me think of Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 16. The leaders of this people calls them the heir. Like I said, I remember when Kanye West, basically they said he lost $2 billion in one day. And then they said the next billionaire is now Puffy. And he just had this old coon ass smile on his face because he's a gatekeeper. And niggas like that got a special judgment. So the niggas that could basically profit off the blood, sweat, and tears and the lives of Jake, as long as they're comfortable. And it's nothing new. You had that with the Pharisees and the Sadducees of old of our people. That's how you know that everything truly reincarnates. So I'm going to bring out a little bit of this article just to prove the point that he basically recanted. I didn't mean to cause any harm, says NBA star Kyrie Irving. I'm not the one that made the documentary. Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving was asked on Thursday if he was apologizing when he said he didn't mean to cause any offense after tweeting a link to the 2018 movie Hebrews to Niggers, Wake Up, Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. I didn't mean to cause any harm, Irving replied. I'm not the one that made the documentary. Irving was condemned last week by, among others, Nets owner Joe Tsai and the NBA for tweeting a link to the movie, which is based on Ronald Dalton's book of the same name and has been blasted as being anti-Semitic by civil rights groups. The anti-defamation group, I think it's ADG. These fucking devils created a group where if you say anything that they don't like, they could just send these people after you. Like, what was that called that Hitler had? I can't think of. They'd come get you, like if you were saying anything that they didn't like, they'd come. I can't think of the name of them, but anyhow, like off of V for Vendetta, you had the chancellor. He was sending people at night to come get your ass. If you said something that you ain't like, he'd send the people to come get you. They come get you in the middle of the night, bust you in the head and put a bag over your head and pull you up out the house, But they do it in a way where they fuck with your life. And if you want to hold anything on this side, basically, they make you rethink the statements you was making, And that's why you really gotta hate your life on the side. Because what is this a life to hold on to? Think about it. Like, just imagine what some of these celebrities do to basically obtain a status. Don't get me wrong, some celebrities are super gifted, some of the athletes and whatnot, but everything is based in what's the word? Entrenched and saturated with this symbolism and witchcraft. When you see, I remember when I was watching, somebody pointed out when Mayweather and what's the guy name? Conor McGregor was fighting. Remember when Conor McGregor fought Mayweather in the boxing ring and they showed him do the Masonic handshake? What's that, the tiger's paw? Yeah, man, like everything in this system is based on some witchcraft. It says, this is the point. It says, while meeting with the media on Thursday, Irving said, I take my full responsibility, again, I repeat, for posting something on my Instagram or Twitter that may have had some unfortunate falsehoods in it. I take So now he's saying that it's not true, but you had to have believed at one point. And the scriptures talk about the Lord can't stand somebody that don't basically believe. You have to have faith. So at one point you believed that you was a Hebrew Israelite, but then now you don't believe it because you seeing some pressure. I take my responsibility for posting it. Posting that Irving continues. Some things that were questionable in there. Some things were questionable and they're untrue. Like I said the first time you all asked me while I was sitting on that stage, I don't believe everything that everybody posts. It's a documentary, so I take my responsibility. Asked if he had any anti-Semitic beliefs. Irving responded, I respect all walks of life. I embrace all walks of life. That's where I sit. And it was funny because somebody just posted a video about that guy Liar Cohen. And that's probably a fake made up ass fucking name. Liar, Lyor, liar. It sounds like liar to me. Liar. Cohen, the guy that's the executive for the music industry, and he was on the Breakfast Club, and basically they were saying why would you promote something where they're talking about violence and all that, and he basically it boiled down to he got to eat and his family got to eat, but you fucking devils got all this money, like, do you really? You don't promote that through your nation. You actually, when you take time to think about it, they don't promote it in anybody's pretty much nation except for Jake. That's why it's allowed to come out. You don't hear. I mean, don't get me wrong. You got music with some certain things like Maroon 5, Wake Up Call. Like what's that shit? Leonard Skinner, Saturday Night Special. You know what I mean? Those songs are Edomite songs, but they talk about death. The motherfucker talk about killing his wife or his girlfriend. The other one talking about he pop a motherfucker with this Saturday Night Special, this little throwaway pistol. But on a level that is promoted through Jake's nation and through it's demonic. So the point is, if you truly believed, as a man, I was told this when I first became homeless, and as many men I've been around, no man broke it down to me except for this guy that I met when I was homeless, and basically said a man isn't truly, how many people you could beat up or how good you could fight or how many women that you can pop or how many children you can have. You're a man when you stand on what you believe. That's what makes a man. And that's why you have, little boys that's 13, well, they're not boys anymore. They're 13-year-old men. That's why the scriptures talk about man became 13, at 13 became a man. You got over in the Middle East where you got young men, because they believe in whatever they're fighting for, that's taking lives, and So this is not, our celebrities are weak, and again, although they have the wealth of this world is going to fade away. So that's, again, the Lord is not using these men as leaders, but he's using them as leaders to basically ensnare the minds of the 2/3 that the Lord don't want. The true men of the Lord are going to stand as great boldness. They're not going to recant. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5 and verse 1, and it reads, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. You got to remember, Jake, who they call is the most, just the lowest nation on in this fucked up ass faggot ass country, basically built this country. Without Jake, half the shit that's the stop light that we use constantly to this day, Jake doesn't profit from that at all, but created that along with a number of other things. I got a book that I got off Amazon that talks about all the inventions of Jake. From the broom, I believe the iron board, to just, the cotton gin, all these different things. It tells you in the scriptures that Jake is the former of all things. And so when you come into this thing, these celebrities ain't really this suffer. And it talks about, again, when I brought out Acts chapter 14, through much tribulation, we shall inherit, or we confirming the souls through much tribulation, we shall enter the kingdom of heaven. So, don't be surprised because, like I said, this is going to be likened onto a fiery trial because trial is test. We're constantly being tested with these different trials and tribulations we go through now. for the main trial, which will be Jacob's trouble. This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 7. Salakia. This is the book of 1 Peter chapter and verse 12. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you as though some strange thing happened unto you. You know, you had Nick Cannon, you had Kanye West, you had Kendrick Lamar, and a number of other celebrities. You know, that might have been their test. And they all failed miserably. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have to understand that you're going to lose things by coming to serve the Lord, it tells you in the book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. So that could have been these men's trial that they basically rejected the Lord, and they have a judgment for that. Beloved, thinking it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you as though some strange thing happened unto you. Verse 13, but rejoice in as much as ye are partakers of Mashiach's suffering, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceedingly joy. And these being basically denying the Lord, based on the fact that they wasn't, so they don't have no foundation. They don't truly believe. This is the book of Mark chapter 4 and verse 13. And he said unto them, know ye not this parable? And how then will ye know all parables? The sword soweth the word. So this is going into, I'm going to start up. Mark 4 and verse 3. Hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow. And it came to pass as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up. And some fell on the stony ground where it had not much earth, and immediately sprang up because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And some fell among thorns, and thorns grew up and choked it and yielded no fruit. And that's these individuals like, Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, Nick Cannon. They, basically, the word took root, but it wasn't, sown into solid ground. It grew amongst the thorns, and basically, and some fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it and yielded no fruit. So because basically, when you had an opportunity to actually, you could have did something, like no one has done in our lifetime, and basically suffered for Yahweh Shem. I mean, brothers suffer for the Lord on a day-to-day basis. But what I'm saying is, the scriptures talk about when much is given, much is required. If you was given all this wealth on this side, you not taking that with you. You know what I mean? So, the Lord might have gave you that, but then your suffering might be great too, for whatever reason. But if you truly believed, you would be willing to accept that suffering. I used to catch a lot of hell, or I felt I was catching a lot of hell. But, a way for me to learn to deal with it, when it was broke down to me, when you really get the understanding that we are catching hell because we sinned, we deserve this shit. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, what can you possibly say? Then you learn, it's when a person doesn't understand why they're suffering, that's a torment in itself. But when you understand why you're suffering, you could deal with it. They talk about cases where men have murdered people and slept soundly. It's the person that's in there that don't know why they're being held, or they're innocent for real. That's the one that's up worried and shit. Verse 8, and other fell on good ground and did yield fruit that sprang up and increased and brought forth some 30 and some 60 and some 100. So, that's going into different men that was given portions of this truth, but basically their faith, their faith didn't grow. You know what I mean? And these celebrities that I've named literally, are those ones that got caught up in the thorns, because when they began to suffer a little persecution, you ain't suffering no persecution yet. You ain't suffering no real persecution. When this devil literally try to, go house to house and then force you to do it. Force you to basically bow to his will. Weak ass fucking Jake, man. the book of Matthew chapter. I think this is Matthew chapter 10, and the point is verse 22. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. So with this truth, you're gonna it comes persecution for his true believers, his true followers. You know, nothing is new under the sun. And the scriptures tell you all this. If our Lord was persecuted by his own people, nonetheless, why wouldn't you? You know, I was watching Kanye. They was up there literally talking about Kanye basically, you know, apologize. What the fuck is you apologizing for? You know what I mean? The statements that you're making are true. Fucking devils. But like I said again, you know, it talks about in the book of Ecclesiasticus or the book of Sirach that how the Most High is going to bring his chosen men through the fire. You know, this is the book of Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. So when you go into these 2 parts, that's 2/3 of our people. You know, they're going to be cut off, meaning they're going to be destroyed on this side. But the third part, the 1/3, the elect, the chosen, shall be preserved. You know, the Lord is going to keep them. It tells you that in the book of Psalms chapter 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. Because the 1/3 are going to be true believers. You know, not just giving lip service. Verse 9, and I will bring the third part through the fire and will refine them as silver is refined. And when you go through the fire, it's to purge any weakness. You know, what it's a saying, pain is weakness leaving the body. You know, when you go into how gold is worked, basically to get the impurities out of the gold, it has to be heated up. You know, when you go into clam, you know, a lot of beautiful things are the result of pain. You know, when you go into a clam and a pearl, you know, that's a pressurized, like, basically air pressure. I mean, a pressurized, you know, it's the air pressure that basically takes that little sand and turns it into something beautiful. You know, same thing with gold. The extreme amount of heat actually makes the gold shine even brighter. You know, and again, like I said, now don't get me wrong, the Lord can use anybody. So I can see him using a celebrity at one point in time. You know, we closer to the end than we ever been. So who's to say what the Lord gonna do? But best believe the Lord about to do something. It tells you in the book of Psalms 119 and 126, it's time for the Lord to work. And the Lord has been working on a day in, day out basis, you know, with this Kyrie thing, with this Kanye thing, with this Russia Ukraine thing, with this America thing, you know, all these different things going on. Meanwhile, they steadily trying to bring out and push this, you know, monetary system in other countries and all that. You know, I was just reading something they was talking about. Basically, Elon Musk was telling McDonald's to he'll do something if he'll do something if McDonald's will accept his Dogecoin. I mean, motherfucker promoting. Did you see him Halloween? This motherfucker got a big ass Baphomet on his suit. So this shit through. Your so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian. So this shit through. Your so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes, and to the commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Kol Loyim, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem double honors to my apostles, the elders, a great millstone who teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the 4 corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwath as well as the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly this was edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. So next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Wath lababah, shalom.